जग माहे। संत सहाय सदा जग माहे। कृपा कर श्याम है वर दीजै। कृपा कर श्याम है वर दीजै। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ
Sangat Ji, we've all just heard the words of Bhagat Kabir Ji. And before we go on to sing the next Shabad, we just focus our minds and attention to what Bhagat Kabir Ji is saying in this slok. Gagan Damama Bajio. The word Gagan translates to the sky. Gagan Damama translates to a drum that is beating. Gagan Damama Bajio Paryo Nishane Kaur. When this drum is beating, and it can be heard echoing in that sky. And this drum is referring to being beaten on that battleground, on that battlefield. For that surma, for that warrior to get ready, for that brave warrior to go onto that battlefield to get ready and fight, so he can do what? Or she can do what? When we look at some of our first even women warriors, most of our minds will go to a name which is who? When you think of a female warrior, what name comes to your mind? What's the first name that comes to your mind when you think of a female warrior? Sorry? My Pago. Yeah, it was a question. You are allowed to answer, don't worry. So Singh here has said, my Pago. But when we look into our history and our itihas, not something that I thought about mentioning or even was on my mind, but the moment I said, when he comes on the battlefield, I thought, well, it could be a she as well. And then my mind went to that first woman that was known to be that one that adorned those shastra, those weapons to go on that battlefield, and her name, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, in 1699, she was one of those that came forward to receive Khande Batida Amrit from Guru Gobind Singh Ji. And she was such a warrior, she had so much masculinity in her, of that warriorness. Guru Gobind Singh Ji Ji said to her that we're not going to even call you Bibi anymore. Guru Gobind Singh Ji said that we're going to call you Biba. Her name was Biki. Guru Gobind Singh Ji said, I'm going to call you Bika. Gave her a masculine name, that she had so much warriorness inside of her. Because she could hear that drum echoing in that sky. She had that nishana, paryo nishane kao. Nishan means when you've got that focus, when you can see what it is, what battle we need to pick, where we need to shoot that arrow and where we need to afflict that wound. She had that clarity. So Guru Gobind Singh Ji said, you've got so much warriorness inside of you, I'm not going to even call you Bibi Pikhi Kaur anymore. You're going to be known as Biba Bika Singh. And Sangat Ji, she was one of the first to take Amrit. And she fought and she became Shaheed. Has anybody heard of Biba Bika Singh before? Just raise your hands if you've heard of her before. So she's mentioned in our Sikh history. So Biba Bika Singh became then Shaheed when Guru Gobind Singh Ji left the fortress of Anandpur. And she was the one that then stayed back and fought side by side by Bhai Uday Singh. Bhai Uday Singh was the brother of Bhai Baljit Singh, who was the son of Bhai Mani Singh Shaheed. And she was the one that went back and stayed back and fought side by side with Bhai Uday Singh and became Shaheed, keeping the Mughals and the Rajput Raja, the hill chiefs, away from Guru Gobind Singh Ji Pachaji and the rest of the Singhs. So it doesn't matter. this message goes out to everyone. Paryo nishane kao. Sangat ji, this drum will be heard by everyone in a different way. You will all have a slightly different nishana. You will all have a slightly different focus that you are going to be working on, but we're all working as one family. We're all working as one army. We're all going to have different roles to play. I'm not going to go really into the history of Bhai Singh. And we famously then, we came to know him and we add the name Nalwa. How many of you know the story behind how this general got that name, how he got that name added to his name? He was known as Singh. How many of you know the history behind how he got the name Nalwa? Put your hands up if you know the history. Those of you that are part of the Katha will know that. And part of the academy will know the history. But it seems like most of you don't, so I would say that was about 3 people out of all this Sangha. So I'm sure this is what we're all going to learn from Bhai Singh, the history of Singh Nalwa. But there was a few things that really came to mind, that really hit me. A few stories, and I'm going to really rein in and only share a few things that stuck out for me. Sangji Singh Nalwa, he lost his father when he was only 7 years old. His father was somebody that fought side by side with Maharaja Ranjit Singh Ji's father, Bhai Charat Singh. His great-grandfather received Khande Bati da Amrit from Guru Gobind Singh Ji by Singh Nalwa. So sometimes we can be quite hard on ourselves. And we might start thinking when we hear this type of history, when we hear about such a general and such a warrior in our history, somebody that truly did come down of Khet, Jo Mandyo Surma, that came down on that Khet, on that battlefield, and literally took on those Shastra and fought. But look at what he received through his genes. His great-grandfather took Amrit from Guru Gobind Singh Ji. His grandfather fought alongside Maharaja Ranjit Singh Ji's father. Look at his lineage. He belonged to that lineage, that rich lineage. And Sangaji, I'm not saying that we don't, and some of you will naturally have that about you. You will have that side about you as well. You'll naturally have that warriorness inside of you. He lost his father at the age of 7. He was also a part of the army of Maharaja Ranjit Singh. And he stayed at his Nanake Pend. When he moved to his Nanake Pend, he learned Shastra Vidya of how to use a sword. But then when he was 14 years of age, his mother took him to Lahore, to the court of Maharaja Ranjit Singh Ji's. Took him to the court of Maharaja Ranjit Singh, and once a year he would have a mela there. Once a year they would get together in this fair where Maharaja Ranjit Singh would sit on his throne, and we would watch people come together and show the mastery of the sword and much other things, and they'd show their other skills as well. People would come. A lot of people don't realize the variety that existed amongst Guru Gobind Singh Ji Patji's 52 poets. We know that how that those studies of Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji Patji evoked that warrior spirit amongst Sangat. The Tadis who were called, I'm sure there are you sitting here, Sangat sitting here, that will be familiar with the names of those 2 Tadi brothers that sang Do Talwari Battiyan Ek Miri Di Ek Piri Di Ek Azmati Di Ek Raj Di Ek Rakhi Kare Waziri Di. Their names, how many of you know their names, the 2 Tadis that sang this war? Anybody? Kids here? Tadi Nathamal and Tadi Abdullah. We've still got their writings. They invoked that warrior spirit that continued in the 52 poets of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Paatshah in Paonta Sahib. They had those poets that continued to evoke that warrior spirit, but it wasn't just that, because there were many skills that they had, those warriors, and which many of you will not be aware of. Some of those poets were comedians as well. How many of you knew that? That Maharaji actually had comedians as poets as well. So sometimes Maharaji would decide, depending on what Maharaji wanted to choose consciously. So sometimes Maharaji would say, I'll have the emotional one today. They wouldn't say the emotional one, but they'd say them by their name. But some poets, they just evoke that deep emotion of bairag inside of you, of longing. And Maharaji would choose them. But some days Maharaji would say, yeah, bring the comedians out. Because everybody then would come together and laugh together. Just like Maharaji says that. We come together and we can find a way even through whilst we are laughing. Hassandea, khellandea, painandea, khawandea, viche hove, mukt nanak satguru petiye, puri hove, jugat. So Sangat ji, there's so many different skills that come together. So then, by Hari Singh's Nalwa's mother, she had brought him to Lahore, to the court of Maharaja Ranjit Singh, and he there was wielding his sword and showing his skills. Maharaja Ranjit Singh ji ne utthe puchya kehde ye kaun hai bachcha ਇੰਨੀ ਛੋਟੀ ਉਮਰ ਵਾਲਾ ਕੇਵਲ ਉਮਰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਾ ਇਹਦੀ 14 ਸਾਲ ਦੀ ਆ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇਹ ਵੇਖੋ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਜ਼ੋਰ ਦਿਖਾਲਦਾ ਪਿਆ ਆ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਸ਼ਸਤਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਤਾਂ ਮਹਾਰਾਜਾ ਰਣਜੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਨੂੰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਣਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਪਿਤਾ ਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਫੌਜ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸਨ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਸ਼ਹੀਦ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਪਰਦਾਦਾ ਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਖੰਡੇ ਬਾਟੇ ਦਾ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਛਕਿਆ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਲਗੀਧਰ ਗੁਰੂ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਕੋਲ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਬੱਚਾ ਆ ਇਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਹਰੀ ਸਿੰਘ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਆ And when Maharaja Ranjit Singh ji heard this, he came forward और ਅੱਗੇ ਆਏ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਗਲੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇੱਕ ਸੋਨੇ ਦਾ ਹਾਰ ਲਾ ਕੇ ਤੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਉਸ ਬੱਚੇ ਦੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਗਲੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਾਇਆ. They said that Maharaja Ranjit Singh at that time, they took off their gold, that heart that he had, necklace in his own neck, and he put it around the neck of Hari Singh Nalwa, this 14-year-old, but he was very muscular and well built and wide and tall and very confident. Maharaja Ranjit Singh ji ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਮਾਤਾ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇਹ ਬੱਚਾ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੇ ਦਿਓ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇਹ ਸਾਡੀ ਅੰਗ ਰੱਖਿਅਕ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਰਿਆ ਕਰੂਗਾ. At the age of 14, the Maharaja of that time is saying, he will be my ang rakhiak, meaning he will be my personal bodyguard. Because he had so much radiance about him. ਤਾਂ ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਜਦੋਂ 2 ਸਾਲ ਲੰਘ ਗਏ ਨਾ 2 years had passed, and this story I'm going to leave to Bhai Man Singh of how and what happened. The story with the tiger, I'm going to leave that to him. He'll tell it much better than me. How he received that name then Nalwa. And I hope I'm not stitching him up and he's thinking I didn't have that prepared, but I'm sure he'll do an amazing job with that story. Secondly, I'm going to skip that part of how he received that name of Nalwa and leave you in that anticipation of thinking, but later on, Hari Singh Nalwa then had the opportunity to become the governor of Kashmir. And this, when I heard this story, ਜਦੋਂ ਇਹ ਮੈਂ ਸੁਣਿਆ ਨਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਇਹ ਗੁਣ ਸੁਣੇ ਮੈਂ ਭਾਈ ਹਰੀ ਸਿੰਘ ਨਲਵਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਉਦੋਂ ਹੁਣ ਅਸੀਂ ਰਸਤੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਹੋਏ. And just like now, I put that on Bhai Man Singh, on Rajan Singh, I said about 20 minutes before reaching here, I said, can you please sing this shabad? This shabad is by Guru Nanak Dev Ji. ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰ ਦੇ ਰੂਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਆ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ ਕਈਆਂ ਨੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਸਰਵਣ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੋਊਗਾ. The screen isn't up today, so you won't be able to see the translation, so maybe we can just literally go through the shabad I haven't gone through for many years, but it came to my mind. There was one line in the shabad, and it made my mind go to the qualities of Bhai Singh Nalwa when he was a governor. And this shabad Sangat ji is that Galli asi changiyan achari buriyan manhok sudha kaliyan. Sangat ji, many of us may have heard this shabad. Manok sudha kaliyan bahar chitaviyan. But there's a line in this shabad. Sometimes what happens is we try and be and imitate other people, but instead not realizing that's not the way and that's not the path. The path is not to try and imitate somebody else. The path is for sure take inspiration from somebody else. Because what happens is, because then Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah says, Risa karhe te naadiyan jo sevhe dar khadiyan. We try and imitate those, Risa karhe te naadiyan jo sevhe, they're serving at the door of Guru Gobind Singh Ji, completely imbued from inside. We might not be there yet, and we try to imitate what they are doing from outside. Nothing wrong with that if we are trying to take inspiration from them but not imitating them, because they may have been passed down that spiritual wisdom from many generations, and then we start to put that pressure on ourselves. I can do that to myself as well sometimes and forget about the work that I'm doing. I'm thinking I should be doing that. And sometimes other people start making us feel like that as well, and start making us feel if you're not doing that specifically, then you're not a part of this bond, you're no good. And we start cancelling people. If you don't speak about this in this way, then you're not a part of this bond, and we start cancelling people, not realizing they might not have that way of being able to articulate themselves. They might not have knowledge and wisdom of a particular topic, and if they do speak about it, they probably make a mess and make things worse instead. I remember I did that once. I started speaking about something online, that a topic that I'm not very learned about, because I thought I need to say my part as well. And you feel the pressure sometimes because something's happening in the band, and you think I need to say something as well. And I said something, and I wasn't able to quite capture and word it very well, so I got some phone calls from some not very happy Singhs. And I said, I'm sorry, I'm going to take the post down. Because it wasn't what I was just trying to imitate what others are doing. Some people have got certain skills to be able to do that particular job within the fund, which makes up the fund, this beautiful garden of different flowers. Sangat ji, and now I'm going to be able to appreciate the gift that Rajan Singh has been given by singing. And if I start forcing him, Rajan Singh, you've got to start, you tell Saki. You're going to tell Saki to me. Sangat ji, even if all of you stood up and did benti to him, we won't tell one. Not because he's been arrogant, not to say he can't build that skill, but certain things just is this natural flow and gift. Not to say we can't build on things. Not to say that if somebody doesn't know Shastra Vidya that we can't learn and take on that skill. Sangat ji, I tried. I remember back in 2010, I did, I think, Katha for about a year and a half. My ustad actually told me that I should leave it. Because I wasn't hitting hard enough. Because then I'd go and hug the other Singh after I hit it. And my ustad said, "Koi nahi, tu rehne." Singh, this is a beautiful line in Jap Bani, where Maharaj Guru Nanak Dev Ji Sache Paatshah Ji says to us that all of you know this line. We'll say it together. Rangi, Rangi, Panti, Kar, Kar, Jinsi, Maya, Jin, Upai. Let's say it together. Rangi, Rangi, Panti, Kar, Kar. Sangat ji, we all know the Pankti, right? When we say it slowly, sometimes we forget, don't we? Because we don't always enshrine it inside of us. But Singh, we can all contribute in some form of way. Today, when I was listening to the history of Singh Nalwa, for a moment I felt this shame. Oh, ki sage, tu kithe ami firda hai, tu shad ke tu rehn de. You shouldn't even do Katha. Some of these generals, when you listen to their history and you think, wow. But then I thought, no, look, we're all coloured in our own unique ways. Rangi, we're all got our own colours of different experiences of life. And in that army, we all need different types of people. Sangaji, I remember when I heard this itihas for the first time when Gyani Sher Singh Ji came to our house. They came to our house, and I think this was about 12 years ago maybe, because I'm sure it was before we had children. About 12 years ago, I'm sure my Man Singh was with Gyani Ji at that time. They told us a Sakhi about a beautiful Gursikh that we all know of. A Gursikh named by Kanhaiya Ji. Then I found this itihas in a book that was passed down to within the lineage of the Seva Panthis. This knowledge has been sent down sinne basinne by the Seva Panthis. It's not generally shared in the Sangha just in case somebody takes it the wrong way. But I remembered that itihas, and I remembered Gyani Sher Singh Ji sharing this Sakhi when they came to our house, and then I was actually passed down this book from a Mahapurkh from the lineage of the Seva Panthis. And in that book it had said that Bhai Kanhaiya Ji became so must because all they could see was Guru Gobind Singh Ji Pacha Ji within everything and everywhere. And as you all know the Sakhi that they would go and just bandage everyone that needed it, whether it was they didn't see a Mughal, they didn't see a Rajput, the hill chief, they didn't see whether it was, they just saw Guru Gobind Singh in everyone. And they said one time that by Kanhaiya looking very mastane, and they had their kirpan on, but the kirpan was facing, instead of this way, it was facing this way. So he's facing the other way round in their gatra, and he was pointing outward. And Guru Gobind Singh Ji Path, he said, "Kinde kirpan, kinde puthi pai ya. Eda muh baal nu aama, muh eda idhar nu pichha paase hona chahiye ya. It should be facing the other way." And Guru Gobind Singh Ji kende tu par chal mainu aa gall das, je tere kol koi aa gaya, je kisi ne te waar karan di koshish ਕੀਤੀ ਤਾਂ ਤੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਕਿਰਪਾਨ ਨਾਲ ਕੀ ਕਰੂੰਗਾ? What will you do with your kirpan if somebody came to attack you? ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ, ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਬਸ ਮੇਰੀ ਕਿਰਪਾਨ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਹ ਚਾਹਾਂਗਾ. This is what's written in the Seva Panthis book. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਇਹ ਚਾਹਾਂਗਾ ਮੇਰੀ ਕਿਰਪਾਨ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਹੋਈ ਦਾਤ ਆ. ਭਾਵ ਸਮਝੀ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਸਮਝਿਓ, ਗੱਲ ਥੋੜੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਬਰੀਕ ਆ. ਅਲੱਗ ਅਵਸਥਾਵਾਂ, different states of mind. Try and understand the subtleness of this. They said this gift has been bestowed by you, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Pacha Ji. They said, how more fortunate could I be? If somebody wants to kill me anyway, then I would tell them to wait. And you said, what would you do with your kirpan? I'll tell them to make sure you're going to kill me with my own kirpan, because this is the gift given to me by my Guru Gobind Singh, and I'd rather go from this world being where my life is taken by the gift that Guru Gobind Singh has given me. Guru Gobind Singh Ji kende chal mastaniya, kende tu rehn de, kende why don't you hand over that kirpan to me, kende shastra mainu fada de. You continue doing your work. Sangaji, we will all have a different color that we are colored with. But as long as we are all within that same panth, we can appreciate each other's roles, and we help each other and strengthen each other, not trying to imitate each other, but understanding that everybody's colored in a different way. And instead, we can help each other and help each other to stand and strengthen each other. And not shun anyone away. Whether somebody's got case, whether they've not got their case yet, let's not look at that. Let's look at their gun, let's look at their strengths. Sanj karijai, gunah keri chod avgan chaliye, Maharaji says. Even to Pumiya Chor, when Maharaj asked a chor, a thief, they said, Das kende teri kirt kiya. वो तो झूठ नहीं बोलिया गया, कहने लगा हे गुरु नानक सच्चे पातशाह मेरी किरत मैं तो महाराज चोर आ चोर। महाराज कहते वाह भला कीता। भाई वीर सिंह जी लिखते ने एवें वो कहते महाराज कहते भला कीता, कहता महाराज शायद कहते तुहानू पूरी तरह सुनाई नहीं दिती, कहते मैं क्या मैं चोर आ। महाराज कहते वाह भला कीता। 3 बार महाराज ने कहा वाह भला कीता, कहना मैनू समझ नहीं आई मैं वाह मैं भला की कीता। महाराज कहते तू सच बोले, कहते वाह तेरे सच दा। कहते आओ कहते महाराज कहते तेरे सच नाल आपां काम करिए। कहते जे तू चोरी नहीं छड्ड सकदा तू चोरी भावें हले ना छड्ड, पर महाराज कहते मैं तेनू ये भी नहीं कहना तू चोरी कर। कहते पर तू जे नहीं छड्ड हुंदी बस मैं देख लिया तेरे विच एक गुण है एक बहुत वड्डा सच बोलण दा, बस अज तो बाद तू सच बोलना भूमिया। आपां एक दूजे दे अंदर आपां गुण लभणे ने, गुण लभ के चुन चुन के फिर आपां इह पंथ दे उन्हां नूं भी एक हिस्सा बनाउणा, एक रंग बनाउणा, एक आपां उन्हां नूं भी एक बहुत सोहना फुल बनाउणा इस पंथ दा। संगत जी, I won't translate everything because then we're running out of time. I know I said that in Punjabi. Some things just sound amazing in Punjabi, don't they? So Sanji, let's sing this Shabad. But I didn't finish off why. There's a line in this Shabad that is very powerful. The line in this Shabad is Honde Taan Nitaniya. Marji says in this Shabad Honde Taan Nitaniya. Rahan Nimananiya. Marj says Honde Taan. Taan means, shout it out. Taan means?
Power.
Alright, not all together. I don't want you to fight over it. Imagine you're in like a kid's camp now and you're going to all shout that answer out together. What's Taan?
Power.
Amazing. Power, strength. Marj kehte Honde Taan, having the strength. Nitaniya. Nitaniya literally means having the strength but being powerless. That wouldn't sound right, but literally that's what it means, but let's translate it better than that. Meaning having the strength but not abusing your strength is a true strength. Not many can do that. Not many can have self-control whilst having power. Rahan nimananiya, meaning remaining humble whilst having so much strength. When Hari Singh Nalwa became the general, maaf karna, when he became the governor of Kashmir, remember Kashmir is that place where the Hindus and the Pandits were forcefully converted. In tens of thousands, the Hindus left their dharam and became Muslims. So at the time of now Hari Singh Nalwa, that had continued now for 2 to 3 generations. Those that had left their faith, the Hindu faith, they had now become Muslims, but some of them had become Muslims out of suppression, not out of choice. Some of them are now born as Muslims, but they don't want to be practicing that faith. The first thing that Hari Singh Nalwa said when he came into power, Honde Taan, he said, anybody here in Kashmir that feels suppressed, that does not want to be practicing the faith of Islam because they were forcefully converted, you are all free. You are all free to go back to your faith. And our history writes, he didn't say you have to become a sect, but you are free to go back to practicing your own faith. He stood up for those, and they say, in 1 month, 40,000 people again became Hindus. 40,000 in 1 month. Because they felt so safe around Hari Singh Nalwa. That's how safe they felt, Sangat Ji. I did really want to share the Sakhi of Bibi Banno, but I'll leave that to Bhai Man Singh as well. So tempting, but I'm going to let him tell it. Sangaji, it's a... Sorry? Say him tell it. He's going to say, because he's humble. Honde taanne taaniyan. Rahn ni manniyan. Sangaji, alright, I'll tell the Sakhi very quickly. When Hari Singh Nalwa, when he continued, he won 20 different battles with the Mughals. And was one area that he went and had victory over that nobody was able to have victory over before. But where I want to bring your focus to is there was somebody that lived in that very place now that nobody else had been able to win over before. Honde taan nitaniya, having that power but remaining in complete self-control and not taking advantage of that power. That's something. There was somebody in that place who was known for his strength and for his warrior skills, a Pathan, an Afghan. But when he heard that Hari Singh Nalwa is coming, put it this way, this is how much the Pathans, the Afghans, started to fear Hari Singh Nalwa, because he'd won 20 different battles against the Mughals. He was so known and heard of, and they say, who's now seen this ravaz, this trend amongst the Pathans where they wear salwara? Have you seen the Pathans when they dress up, they wear salwara? Who's seen that? They wear salwara. Does anybody know why? So apparently some of our history says that when they heard that Hari Singh Nalwa was connected, he had such a good character, he was known, they said one thing we have heard is that he will never attack a woman, he will never kidnap a woman, he would never attack a child, somebody elderly. But if anyone tries to come in his way and is being unrighteous, then he will stand up against them. So what did some of the men do that didn't want to come up against Hari Singh Nalwa? They started doing what?
Putting suits on?
Yeah, they started wearing salwara to dress as women so they wouldn't have to face Hari Singh Nalwa. That's where that dress sense comes from. I'm just saying, just putting it out there. So, this known warrior, he goes to his wife, he said, look, we need to leave this area. She goes, what do you mean we need to leave? You leave this area, we can't leave. And she said, tell me why. He said, because somebody called Hari Singh Nalwa was coming and he's somebody that I'm not going to face. She goes, what do you mean you're not going to face him? She goes, what do you mean you're not going to face him? She goes, I married you because I heard that ਜਦੋਂ ਤਲਵਾਰ ਕੱਢਦਾ ਆਪਣੀ ਮਿਆਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਪਹਾੜ ਵੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਉਹ ਡਰਨ ਲੱਪਣਦੇ ਆ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਪਹਾੜ ਵੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਕੰਮ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਇਹ ਤਲਵਾਰ ਆਪਣੀ ਮਿਆਨ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਕੱਢਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਤੂੰ ਹੁਣ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਆ ਕੋਈ ਸਿੱਖ ਜਿਹਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਹਰੀ ਸਿੰਘ ਨਲਵਾ ਤਾਂ ਤੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਹੁਣ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਖੜਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣਾ ਇਹ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਗੱਲ ਹੋ ਗਈ? She said, now Banno saying that you're saying to me that you can't stand, it said, ਉਹ ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗਾ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਮੈਂ ਪਹਾੜਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਡਰਦਾ. It doesn't matter about any other mountains that I might have to face in my time, and yes, I will make them shake whatever mountain comes my way. But there's one mountain that makes me shake, and that is Hari Singh Nalwa. I'm not going to face it. ਉਹ ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ. She said, then you give me permission to go, and I will then shake his ground, and I will make him move. So she now goes to the tent of Hari Singh Nalwa. She gets permission to come inside to meet this great general. Bibi Banno ji comes inside, and Hari Singh Nalwa at this time is 42 years of age. So, as well as same age as me basically. And she was 20 years old at that time. And was said to be very beautiful. She looked at Hari Singh Nalwa and she thought, you know, Guru Sahib Ji say to us that, "E Maya Mohani, that if anything is enticing first when that Maya comes to us in the form of calm, she goes and she looks at Hari Singh Nalwa. First of all, when she sees his radiance, she can feel something, and she says, first thing that she says is that, I want a son from you. Kendi mera nikah kar lo, marry me. Hari Singh Nalwa कहने लगे कहंदे, said, Biba, leave my tent, I'm already married. And she said, no. She said, I don't care for your wife, it doesn't matter if you're already married. She goes, what I've heard of you, she goes, I want a son just like you, I want a son from you. Hari Singh Nalwa said, came in a little rage, in this warrior spirit. And कहते Biba, इथों तंबू दे विचों बाहर हो जा, निकल जा इथों. She said, get out of this tent right now. Said to the Singhs that were on guard, कहते इन्हों बाहर कड्डो, कहते इन्हों कहो निकल जा इथों. Tell her to leave. The Sangat ji, and they say that कहते जदों जांदी पई सी, when she was leaving the tent, कहते कुछ कहते हौली हौली कुसड़ करदी सीगी. She was whispering something. And as she was whispering, she said, कहते हाँ मैं तो सुनिया सीगा गुरु नानक दे घरों कोई खाली नहीं तुर के जांदा. She said, I had heard that nobody goes empty from the house of Guru Nanak. And look, a so-called Sikh of Guru Nanak is turning somebody away empty-handed. I asked for a son and he won't give me a son. She left the tent, but that was now rattling in the mind of Hari Singh Nalwa. And he said now to his soldiers, bring her back, manu wapas lake aao. She comes back into the tent, a great general who has so much power, honde taan, nitaniya, rahan, nimananiya, that doesn't take advantage and has complete self-control. This general that is built like a brick house comes to his knee and looks up. Ta कहन लगे कहंदे बीबा, कहंदे जे तेनू चाहिदा पुत्र मेरे वर्गा, ता कहन लगे कि आज तो तू मेरी मां, ता मैं तेरा पुत्र आ एक मां बन के अपना हाथ इस पुत्र दे सिर ऊपर रख दे. Sangat ji, when she comes back into that tent, this great general comes down to his knee and he says that you want a son like me. He looks up and he said that, oh mother, a mother's hand is to go above her child's head. From today, I am your child. You are my mother. Place your hand on my head. And Sangat, from that moment, the arrow of Guru Nanak struck her so deep. From that day, she was known as Bibi Banoji and became a Sikh of Guru Nanak from that day because of the character of Hari Singh Nalwa. Honde taan nitaniya, rahan nimananiya. Sangat, let's sing this Shabad and think of that great general and think of those gifts that you've been bestowed by Guru Gobind Singh Ji Sache Paatshah Ji. Gaave ko taan, hove kise taan, gaave ko daat, jane nisan. Embrace your gifts and let's support and strengthen each other with the qualities that they have to create this beautiful garden called Khalsa Panth. Oh, padhiye ji.
गली असी चंगिया आचारी बुरिया आचारी बुरिया गली असी चंगिया आचारी बुरिया आचारी चंगिया आचारी बुरिया चिटविया गली असी चंगिया आचारी बुरिया आचारी बुरिया गली असी चंगिया आचारी बुरिया आचारी रीसा करे नाड़िया रीसा करे नाड़िया सेवे तर खड़िया सेवे तर खड़िया नाल खसम रतिया नाल खसम रतिया आणे सुखरिया आणे सुखरिया असी चंगिया आचारी बुरिया आचारी बुरिया असी चंगिया आचारी बुरिया आचारी बुरिया होंदे ताड़ा ये ताड़िया होंदे ताड़ा ये ताड़िया होंदे ताड़ा ये ताड़िया होंदे ताड़ा ये ताड़िया रहे निमानड़िया रहे निमानड़िया रहे निमानड़िया रहे निमानड़िया नानक जानम सरकार था नानक जानम सरकार था ये दिन के संग मिला ये दिन के संग मिला ये दिन के संग मिला असी चंगिया आचारी बुरिया आचारी बुरिया असी चंगिया आचारी बुरिया आचारी बुरिया मनुष्य सुता पालिया मनुष्य सुता पालिया बाहर चिटविया बाहर चिटविया ਅਸੀਂ ਚੰਗੀਆਂ ਆਚਾਰੀ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਆਚਾਰੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਚੰਗੀਆਂ ਆਚਾਰੀ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਆਚਾਰੀ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਚੰਗੀਆਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਚੰਗੀਆਂ ਆਚਾਰੀ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਆਚਾਰੀ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
So Sangat Ji, using that thorn, that strength, not misusing it, but using it, those strengths and skills to lift others out of their suppression, whatever that might be, lifting others out of their drowning battles. So Sangat Ji, Das, a few years ago, also founded an organization called Journey of Compassion, which is built around mental well-being, looking at mental well-being through the lens of Gurbani. We provide Sangat, online Sangat every Sundays. It's been over 2 years where it's transformed people's lives. It's not just for people that are struggling with the mental health, even if you just want to grow spiritually and enrich yourself with Gurbani, because those sessions are about, we contemplate Gurbani. Currently Japji Sahib, we're about halfway through. So you can join through our website, journeyofcompassion.com. I'm happy to help you sign up. If you miss the sessions, you can then watch it back through a private link you get through an email that you send. So Sangat Ji, Sangat is very important for us to keep on this path, this kanyo tikki valmuniki. So look for those things that are going to help and support you on this path that we are all on. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.